You have a very strong calling. You do great things. Ojudalagbara, you're not stronger than before.
Praise the Lord!
Hallelujah! I have been praying to the Lord for the past 3 years for my wife to join me here in London. Amen. And as we have it now, look, my God has done it. Amen. Look at my wife, Linda, has joined me in the
Mrs. Funmi, are you aware that your husband's accused of not sleeping with just one, but 8 young virgins?
Tell your neighbor, God is here.
God is here.
They want to ride big cars, fly in jets, and we, the members, suffer for it.
I am working hard to keep the few members of our church left. Why would I be happy?
It's just the work of the devil trying to bring down the man of God.
Filming this Apostle Do Good for me was it was something very close to my heart, because since I started living here in diaspora, that is Africans that are living abroad, you know, I noticed that we have a lot of African charismatic churches, almost like everywhere you go, you know, and that in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. But then there's also this trend where you begin to see that people they act in a particular way, and it's as if religion has suddenly started playing such a major role in the lives of Africans especially. I noticed that in the London area, in the Southwark area, you have over 200 African charismatic churches. And it is said in the West that there is a decline of churches. The church buildings are being converted into mosques. Some church buildings are converted into offices or something. But there is a rise in African Pentecostal churches. They are like mushrooming everywhere. So I thought, why don't I do a story that, you know, focuses on the life of Africans in diaspora that are Christians? And then we had this interesting title, Apostle Do Good. Oh my goodness. The title alone, it created quite an interest for a lot of people. Most people thought it was like a comedy, you know, who is this good apostle? And we used it more like, what's that word they use in English? You know, the opposite of the word. The apostle wasn't so good. But until you watch the series, then you will see it.
Virgins, Bode. What were you thinking? My daddy warned me. He saw through all your charade, all this fake pastor thing.
Casting for this series, for me, I wanted to be able to engage different nationals. I didn't want it to just be Nigerians. I wanted it to be, you know, Africans in diaspora. So we have people from Congo, people from Kenya, people from Sierra Leone. We have people from Zimbabwe, all in the film. And of course, we have people from Nigeria. The majority of the cast are from Nigeria. And yes, we had to make it like that so that everyone will feel involved, because we wanted to also be able to showcase cosmopolitan London. So it's not just Africans in isolation, but Africans as they interact with Europeans in Europe. My most challenging thing on this project is finances. Money. But that is normal for filming, because this is what is called guerrilla filming, is indie filming, like small budget, low budget, or no budget filming. This whole production is based on a whole lot of goodwill, never give up spirit, and a lot of community support. Like a lot of goodwill, everybody coming together. Most of the cast will even leave work, and sometimes we'll film during the day. We just film around hours where we're not working and all of that. And then the crew, sometimes they work for 10 to 14 hours, and we're not paying premium. So it's a whole lot of goodwill, a whole lot of blood and sweat because of the love and passion for the work. So we expect that this would be something that we can all be proud of eventually. What I expect people to take away from this production is a confrontation with the reality of who we really are. It's like a man looking in the mirror. I have tried my best to present an unbiased report of the state of the charismatic African churches in diaspora. And it has touched on a lot of sensitive topics. I know that there will be probably an uproar in some areas. Some people will feel very indignant, some will be very angry, and some people will feel liberated. And a lot of people might actually even applaud it. It depends on what part of the fence you're sitting on. If you're a lover of truth and transparency, you definitely would love Apostle Do Good. I think it's about time we began to tell our stories. And in telling the stories, we need to be able to be honest enough and be upfront about what it is, the good, the bad, and the not so pretty.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord, everybody. How many people know that the Lord is good? Come on, let's stand up and give the Lord a shout of praise. Amen. Hallelujah. He's a mighty God.
I don't know what to say, but I have a meeting that I committed this adultery. And I've apologized to my wife and to all parties involved. So at this point, I'll plead that may be left in our privacy to live our life.
Right. This man has committed no worse crime than any other pastor out there.
Brothers and sisters, as you know, I have been praying to the Lord for the past 3 years for my wife to join me here in London. Amen. And as we have it now, look, my God has done it. Amen. Look at my wife, Linda, has joined me in the
Virgins, Bode. What were you thinking? My daddy warned me. He saw through
all your charade, all this fake pastor thing.
Àṣẹ rẹ̀ nínú ìlú wa. Àbátálágẹ̀ ń bá ti dá lò ṣòkè ń gbà. Etí mi àṣẹ ni. Ọwọ́ mi àṣẹ ni. Gbogbo ara mi àṣẹ ni.
My darling.
This bed is the fan. It's on the cut. You're just using my kite just for nothing, huh? Useless woman.
My most exciting moment was when I was confronted with the fallibility of my husband. I played the character Funmi. Funmi is married to the apostle. She's what they call the mummy in the church, the big mummy, the pastor missus. And it is expected that our lives should be without above board, holy people, sanctified people. So when the character Funmi was confronted with the fallibility, the humanness of Pastor Bode or Apostle Bode, for me, that was the most exciting time, because then we could really, really tap into emotions, and I had to dig deep and be able to come out with, a sort of deep emotional reaction to all of that, because we all want the best of our man of God. And when the man of God is in a position of vulnerability, it will shake you. It would really shake anyone. So yes, that for me was one of the most unforgettable moments in the film. We hope that this will be the start of many more, because this is the first season, which is 13 episodes, and we wrote it out to be a 26 episode series for television. So we have kind of like shrunk it to do a premiere version before the release, and wait and see. I'm sure I'm going to be hearing from many of you. It's a very controversial production. I've always loved EastEnders, because EastEnders is a kind of soap that's been going on for over 20 years, for decades now. But the thing about it is, it always finds a way to be relevant to what is happening at the present time, which for me was the attraction to Apostle Do Good. I wanted to be able to tell the story of the church as it is happening at that time. So if by the grace of God, we are still doing Apostle Do Good next year, I would be having in the series a reenactment of happenings in the church. For example, there was a story of this apostle that was caught in some mega sex scandal, and there was the payout for the girl and how it affected his home and the reaction of his church people. There were stories of some pastors arrested in South Africa, Nigerian pastors with relations to some particular thing, So what I've tried to do is I have tried to tell those stories, and then looking at it from the perspective of the church, perspective of the secular world, perspective of the members of the church, and at the same time, I have tried to address issues that we shy away from. Is it possible for a man of God to lie, for instance, or to steal? Or are they all men of God? And then you look at people who are not necessarily Christians. How do we relate with them outside? And what is our lifestyle when we're not in the church? Personal lives of people. So that for me is what separates this production from other productions I've done, because other ones have just been stories that we do in a film and it begins and it ends there. But this is ongoing. This is something that can go on for the next 10 years, because we would always have real life issues to reenact in Apostle Do Good.
I can't help but to give God glory. After all, I'm alive. The enemy could not take the best of me. I still live for your love, for your grace, and your mercy is covering me. For your love and your grace, Lord, your mercy is covering me. Your grace, your mercy is all over me. For your grace, your mercy is all over me.